Hey guys, Shinjoy here, aka Go Tiger in the Mechwarrior Online universe. Today I'm bringing you the second part of my Mechwarrior Online overview. What I'm going to do is cover the in-match UI so that you have a better understanding of what's going on when you're in the game. I'm going to do this really quick. It's just kind of a primer to help you get going so that you download the client, you choose one of the trial mechs, and you get in. You want to jump in, find out what's going on, and this will help you. First thing I'm going to cover is the bottom row, going from right to left. In the lower right hand corner, you have your weapons and your weapons groups. You can change those using the arrow keys and the right control button to turn them on and off. Be aware that the column that is highlighted will default to mouse button 1. So try and have it on number 1 to make it easy for you. Number 2 is mouse button 2. Number 3 is mouse button 3, so on and so forth. You can modify these settings in the options underneath key bindings. Fairly simple to do. Also, the numbers above your letters on your keyboard will fire the same things. But take it from me, it's easier if you use your mouse buttons. I generally at most use 3. Also, speaking of mouse buttons, on your mouse, the mouse scroll wheel up and down by default does absolutely nothing, and you cannot map anything to mouse scroll up and down. But when you press down on the mouse button itself, when you click it, that will zoom you in and out. There are 2 stages of zoom. So 2 clicks will bring you to the closest one. Higher magnification. The Zeta key also does the same thing on your keyboard. Now, under the weapon groupings, you'll see a range there. That is the optimum range for your weapons. Anything lower than that, in general, will do the same amount of damage. Going past that optimum range, you'll end up doing less damage with the weapons. On the far right of your weapons groups, you will have either an infinity symbol or a number. The number designates the number of rounds that you have for that weapon. If it's an infinity symbol, that means theoretically it will shoot out all the way across the map. Now, if you notice, my medium lasers there have an optimum range of 270. What that means is that in between 0 and 270, I'm doing max damage. Anything past 270, basically 2 times 270, so 540. Anything out to 540 meters, I'll be doing reduced damage. And you can see that, how it goes from green to yellow. Yellow means that you're doing less than optimal damage. In the center portion of the UI, of the HUD, we have the mini-map. Blue is your team, red is their team. Bright blue are people in your lance. To the right of that, we have your heat indicator. If that reaches 100%, you shut down. You can hit the O key, the letter O, to override. The override only works if you hit it before you actually shut down. If you end up shutting down on your mech, you will take internal structural damage. Watch out for that. The longer you're shut down, the more damage you take. You can actually blow yourself up, so be very careful. To the left of the minimap, we have your speed indicator, forwards and reverse, the W and S keys by default. What I recommend you do is go into your option setting and turn off throttle decay. What that means is when you push the W button up to a certain speed, it will stay there until you hit either X to come to a hard braking stop or S to slow down slowly and go into reverse. If you have throttle decay turned on, as soon as you take your finger off the W key, you will slow down and come to a stop. Just trust me, you don't want that. It's easier if you just leave it to where you press the W key, reach the speed that you want, and you keep moving forward. The A and D keys turn you left and right. Your mouse controls your turret just like a tank, rotating left and right. Each mech has a different amount that they can rotate to the left and the right. To the left of the mini-map and the speed indicator, you have your armor and internal structural hit points. The outlines around the edges are your armor. The inside of that is your structure. If your armor is gone and your structure is showing and you are taking structural damage, weapons your engine, ammo can all be destroyed. If your ammo gets destroyed, it blows up and does damage to you. So be extremely careful. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you have it shows the other people in your lance, the mechs that they drive, and the amount of hit points that they have left as a percentage indicator. In the center top, you have the team score area. What it shows is the amount of mechs destroyed for your team and the enemy team, the time left in the match, and since I'm playing Assault, it shows the amount of cap that is left on each one of our bases. If you are playing Conquest, that row up there will show the 5 different points and how much they have been capped by each team. Blue is always your team, red is always the enemy team. In Conquest, it will not show you how many of your teams or the enemy team's mechs are destroyed. To see that, you hit the tab key and look at the scoreboard. In the upper right hand corner, you'll have your target designation, the current mech that you have targeted. Generally, you need line of sight on it, or one of your teammates that has line of sight has it targeted, then you can target that mech. And it works similar to the same way your own mech's hit points work. The outside border of the mech shown there is the armor, the inside is the internal structure, and it also shows the weapons. If a weapon is red, that means in the upper left hand or right hand corner, if the enemy's weapons are red, that means that they are no longer functioning. Same goes for yours and your weapons groups. If they are red, you either ran out of ammo, they've been destroyed, or they are jammed. In the center portion of the HUD, excuse me, you have a circle and crosshairs. The circle represents your arm-mounted weapons. The crosshair represents your torso-mounted weapons. Your arms can rotate farther than your torso can, depending on the mech that you are piloting. My mech, my arms do not move horizontally, so generally they stay the same as my torso. Above that, you have a compass and hitting indicator. Now on that bar, you will see red marks and blue marks. The blue marks designate your team that are in view or your base. The red marks represent enemy mechs and their base. Pretty simple to figure out. And that's the basics of the HUD itself. There are some other things that would be your mech cockpit that aren't the HUD generated, but they're actually in the mech cockpit itself. For the most part, those are fluff items, even though you will notice that if heat sinks get knocked out, they will go red on the cockpit shown. You can press the left control key to have free look, to look freely around your cockpit. You can also change the field of view in the user config files, which is a file that you have to create and insert into the Mechwarrior folder itself. There are directions on how to do that on the mwomercs.com forums, on the official forums for the game. Pretty simple. You can just Google MWO user config file, and you'll get a whole bunch of stuff that pops up. Choose the most recent forums post, because there's a lot of stuff that's out of date that you can no longer do if you do something like that. And that's pretty quick and easy. Rundown on what the HUD looks like. Between this one and the first part of the overview, you should be ready to go to just hop in a match and give the game a try. Be aware that the trial mechs that you will be using when you first enter the game are not optimized. They're generally considered bad. Now, they're only bad in the sense that making your own mech or playing against mechs that other people have customized, they're a lot better. They're a lot more efficient. The loadouts work, I guess you could say, are more concentrated and more specialized for their playstyle. So of course they're going to be better. Just work through those first 25 or so matches till you can afford your own mech. And then go on ahead and pick one out that you like. I recommend either a heavy or assault mech to start out with. Though you might like the lights. If you're going for a light, I recommend going for a Jenner or a spider. Jenners are generally hardier than spiders are, but spiders currently have broken hitboxes. Yeah. So take that as you will. Take that as you will. I recommend a heavy or an assault to kind of for your first mech to get into. Do some research on the forums on the mechs and their loadouts, on what you would like to play. There's a lot of information on the official forums. Watch out for the official forums. There's a lot of vitriol there. Don't take that at face value. They're online free-to-play game forums. I'm sure you know how those are. But if you go into the new players section and the mech and loadout section, that's a really helpful community that answers and will help you out there. You can ask just about any question you want. If you got a question about a certain mech build, go ahead and ask, and people will help you out, man. I'd stay away from most other sections, so if you take my meaning. But that's it. Be sure to look out for the rest of my videos covering the front-end user UI, solo tactics, some group tactics for various maps. I'm going to be going over the weapons and what they do, even though Sean Lang has put out an outstanding video. Sean Lang of No Guts, No Galaxy. Even though the video is dated, it's fairly up to date. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail than he did about the various weapon groups. So please rate, comment, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, if it was helpful. And I'll check you guys later. Hope to see you in game.